it is. What's your home number?
Good.
All right, now that we have
we were using rooms.
Oh no, you can't. Although like industrial trolleys, they have a cargo lift, right? So I'm almost going to guarantee they have industrial trolleys. I've played it.
Yeah.
I remember driving vehicles with the cargo lift. That's what you get your cargo lift right side forward.
I don't know. Looks good now.
It's recording and all that?
Yeah. Now, after the tape problems, we've actually got earthquake.
So you guys still got stuff on the
Okay.
Oops, I just hit stop.
What we're going to have to do is have a contingency to be able to have stuff in there. Testing the tape recorder, seeing if it's working. Yeah, cool. We got record. We got electrical dudes hard at work. We got like Al dude.
two blues, we can come back this way.
So for a picture not being on the internet.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna do the walk around of like our setup. We'll have to do a pile of editing of this tape when we're done. Yeah, we'll just spin around nice and slowly. Yeah, we're taking pictures of each other. Okay. GamesCon Vancouver in the making. And yet, they say BC has mountains, huh? Mountains of tables. And our really cool sponsor area / recreation lounge. And more views of mountain. View off the stage. Here we go. Okay.
Just hold about half the people here, I can say something.
Just hold the phone back 10 feet if you don't ask us.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
We're going.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. As found on the website, one of the features of this thing was for me to give a talk, which is kind of unusual where I'm coming from. So I was just a guy sitting around in Ottawa with not much to do, and I wrote a team play patch called Capture the Flag, and life changed. So a lot of people asked me to talk about how it all got started and how Quake affected my life and a lot of other people's. I was in Ottawa working for a service provider called iStar, and somewhat disenchanted since I just moved there from BC, so didn't have a lot of friends and stuff. And this game called Quake came out. Of course, I knew about it and the stuff they made and Doom. So I started getting into it. One of the things I've always been into is multiplayer games. And Quake was the first game that I could really play a high-speed action game over the net. Even though it was lag Quake back then, we didn't have a Quake world. So I started getting into it, and then I started getting into the editing of it, the coding and stuff. When the Quake C was released, and one of the first patches that came up with was the runes, which everybody is now familiar with. And it was actually, where's Tom? There's Tom. He was the one that suggested the runes patch when we were talking about Quake. He was the first guy I played in Quake. And so we came up with the runes, and I ran the old 3-wave server, Quake 3-wave comp, which I imagine lots of you have played on in the past. And one of the things I found in multiplayer games, especially games like Quake, was there was this whole free-for-all mentality. You were at the top of the scoreboard, or it didn't matter. And the problem with that is, in any game, you get a range of skills. You know, some players are better at at holding stuff, some players are better at being aggressive, and I want to foster that sort of element of the uniqueness of the players. And that's where team play came together. And with team play, I originally had Team Deathmatch, which is actually a fairly popular form today, but it wasn't back then, because there wasn't really any organization. It was basically, don't shoot the same color as you. That's what it came down to. There was no organization. So to foster that, one of the ideas was to come up with a goal. And that's where the whole capture the flag came from. And it was quite interesting. In one evening, I wrote the initial version of Capture the Flag with the floating keys and the two teams. And I put it up on the server, and everybody was confused. What's this? What's this key floating at the exit or whatever? And after that, after I explained to everybody how everything worked, they started getting into it. And I played with everybody for an hour and everything like that. Went to bed, got up the next morning. The server was so packed I couldn't get on. I'm like, what the hell happened? And it just took off. People really liked it because the players were really good, contributed to the team. The players that weren't so good or had different skills could contribute to the team. And that was what it was all about. And that's one reason why a lot of people like CTF, and some people don't, because they're more individualistic. They don't work well with the team. So after Capture the Flag came out, and its popularity grew, I had 3 servers running, and there was tons of other servers out there that released the program. The idea of doing a custom set came together. Now it was the CTF 3 levels. I was hanging out in IRC with a lot of other people who were just starting Quake editing, and they were interested in building a level. So I gathered a bunch of amateur level designers together, and we put together the little pack, which took about 2 months. A lot of people don't realize that pack was actually the first level pack for Quake, outside of any commercial ones. Actually, before any commercial ones. And it was a hell of a lot of work because nobody knew how to build levels. I mean, everybody see the original CTF level. There's some errors in them and stuff because nobody really knew what they were doing. But they caught on. I had a beta of 3 of the levels, and the servers were so packed that they wouldn't connect. I had to set up more servers. It was just crazy. And the day I released CTF 3, I estimated there was like 40,000 downloads total throughout the mirror sets. My main site had 9,000 alone. I couldn't believe the response. But from that, everybody suddenly had to have CTF installed, and everybody enjoyed it and played it, and it became more and more of a fun patch. And part of that went with it was a notoriety of myself, which is something I was not expecting. You know, I go on IRC and I get inundated with questions and stuff. You know, here's this you know, oh, it's the guy who wrote that Capture the Flag thing. And to this day, it still keeps growing. But that's how CTF got its basic start. And from that, I got more into the Quake scene, and I'm a big proponent of Unix, of Linux and Unix, those operating systems, as opposed to Microsoft stuff. And John Carmack obviously heard of me from the CTF stuff I did, and I got in a relationship with it to do the Unix support. And that was a volunteer position back then, actually. And from there, once I started getting involved in there, I realized that working for internet stuff and doing what I was now wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in the game industry, because I already seemed to have been successful part-time. So what I did is quit my job, moved from Ottawa back to here where I like to live. Was involved in a startup company that did successful, and eventually kind of milled around a bit until eventually I signed on as a contractor for it. And that's when I started working on Quake 2 CTF and all that stuff. Quake 2 CTF was a large project because I built it all myself. The only help I had was the artists that did, Paul for the models and Kevin and Adrian for the art, who all did a fantastic job. The models are really well done. And that was pretty well received, and it came out too. That was about 3 months of solid work. And I'm really happy with the product. A lot of people seem to like it. But it's interesting, you know, the responses I've watched between the evolution of Quake and Quake 2 have been interesting. Especially Quake 2 has a lot of differences to it. And I've seen a lot of the community split on the issues. Quake is definitely a different game than Quake 2. And the one thing I noticed in Quake 2 is a lot of the multiplayer seems to be more focused on CTF play than it was in Quake. Now, I'm not sure if that's Quake 2 itself, or just because CTF is now such an expected part of the game. And CTF is. Sin is going to have CTF, Half-Life is talking about it, Unreal is talking about it. And all these games now realize that goal-oriented team play is no longer an add-on, an option. It has to be part of the game because it offers such a dynamic set of play. From now, for myself, I'm working on the maintenance of Quake 2 right now. I'm putting out a new release probably in a week or two that addresses some bugs and has a few new features, like the competition mode for CTF that some of you guys are playing today. And from that, I'm going to start working on Quake 3 stuff, which is going to be very exciting. The graphics work John Carmack's doing. And it's going to be interesting because Wolfenstein, Doom, to Quake were all complete steps. After Doom, John wiped his stuff and started Quake from scratch. Same after Wolf, same thing with Doom. Quake 3 is going to be quite different because what he's doing is he's just throwing out the graphics engine, but he's keeping all the networking and all that subsystems back in. So I'll still play the same networking, but I'll have a completely new graphics engine that will be hardware only. So a 3D card would be required in the new version.
Hold on a second.
We're going to talk about Quake World.
Good point.
Like who started that? Was that it or was it?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Just
Quake World actually was an interesting project. One of the problems with the original Quake networking model was the client was dumb, if that makes any sense. What happened is the server controlled everything. When you moved, all the client did was control where you looked and read your keys. But the server was the one that moved you, the server was the one that did all the checking and stuff like that. So the problem with that is it works great on the LAN because the server's, tens milliseconds away at that. Over a modem, it's quite atrocious. Or a modem, hit the forward button, wait half a second, and then you start walking. So after Quake was released, and this became a real problem, although a lot of people just got used to it, was John wanted to try out new networking models that would compensate for the lag. So what he did is the Quake World project, which compensates for it by using what's called prediction. And what that does is the client now knows how the world works. It knows how to take your commands and move you. And that's all it does know. And what happens is, when we play Quake World, when you move, you're actually moving on your own, and the server follows you later based on your lag, which is why you can get some wiggling and stuff for prediction if you get hit a little bit behind. But what it offers the player is your latency to the server no longer controls your movement. You can move independently regardless of the server speed, and that's a real boon. You're not worried about am I going to make this jump or not? Depending on whether flash my modem is. It has some disadvantages in that the world you see is actually 2 seconds in the future. Say you're like 200 milliseconds. It would be 1/5 of a second in the future of what it actually is. And that takes a little getting used to sometimes because of that prediction. But it makes the game a hell of a lot more playable, over the net. And that's one of the realities of the network of today, is the internet is still growing, and new technologies are taking care of it, though, like ADSL and stuff like that. ADSL is so amazingly fast, it's almost a non-issue. But and then I'm releasing a new Quake World probably in a week or two as well. And one of the issues with that is because NetQuake was done and hasn't changed really. Quake World was an evolutionary product off it. They kind of diverged a bit. Quake World actually played a little bit differently than NetQuake did. So what I want to do is merge them back. And the new Quake World, one of my goals was to make it play as much as the original Quake as possible with the advantages of prediction. So my next release plays pretty damn close to the original game, but it's much playable over a modem because you're not restricted to your movement.
So is that going to be like Quake World or just Quake?
It's Quake World 2.2. It's still Quake World because Quake World actually has a lot of features that aren't present in Quake because it's self-developed. It's just, yeah. It would be ideal if I could have a complete solution that would have like the old NetQuake way of doing it and the Quake World way, and the player could choose between the two. But it's just, they're so fundamentally different in the way they process stuff. Because in the regular Quake, the player is moved by the server. You just give commands to say, I want to turn this way, and the server says, okay, there you turn that way. Whereas in Quake world, you're driven by packets. But that means is every time you have a frame, you say, okay, I'm moving this way, I move this way. And then the server goes, later on goes, okay, he moved this way. Right? So instead of the server controlling, you're controlling and telling the server about it. The server checks to make sure, yes, you can move that way, so you can't cheat. So, I don't have a big itinerary, so I'd like to look at them for questions.
What do you see as being the future of CTF? Do you want to make it any more
One
complex?
of the fundamental problems I have with CTF is it doesn't scale beyond about 20 players. You know, if you get a game of 32 people, you get like 8 guys in base and 8 guys in their base, and it's impossible to get it flat. And there's 2 reasons for that. And one of them is a lot of the assaults based in CTF now are usually 1 or 2 man teams. Try to get in and take the flag. If you got 8 guys defending it, you're not going to make it. But one of the ways that it will be solved is better communication. One of the things I'd love to see is voice over the net during a Quake game. That would change the game entirely. You know, because you just listen to you guys while you're playing right here. You're yelling at each other and screaming and you're talking. You can play a 32-player game if you had 2 60-man teams, each in their own room. You know, all on the land, all beside each other. That would work, because then you could do coordinated offenses. You know, okay, let's say, okay, 4 guys get here, 4 guys get there, okay, you come in that way, you come in that way. And then you got like 8 guys coming in the base, and you have big fighting, and they see if the flag gets up. But over the net, it doesn't work, because you don't have the organization. That's where I'd love to see new technologies like voice on the net. So that you can still scream at the guys beside you, but he's on the other side of the country. That's what I'd like to see.
Would it be possible to do one step closer to that and have a lot of channels that you could use for communication, so that an assault team could talk among themselves and not be interrupting what the defenders are trying to do?
The bandwidth today really is not enough to do any voice there. There are some solutions I made, like the Quake 2 CTF has special commands so you can report your location and your health and ability and everything like that. But it's still too slow because you got to read it. I mean, vocal communication is a lot faster.
Well, I was meaning with just text, just so that you could send your message in text just to the people who wanted it.
Sort of like a sub-team?
Yeah, and then you could, just like a channel on a walkie-talkie.
I know, it
Okay,
sounds
so
interesting, but it still
listen,
takes a lot of organization. And
It would help, though.
it would help, but you still have to organize your assault team to begin with. And a regular pickup CTF game on the net people never have.
Good point.
And a clan that actually plans it all out.
Zoid, what's the possibility of actually creating plans ahead of time before you start a game and create trails of the map? Is that a little too far out?
It's an interesting idea. One of the benefits I think of CTF right now is its simplicity.
Yeah.
Right? There's your red team, your blue team, flag on each one, take that one, touch that one, done. Right? That's CTF. Adding layers like that, one of the things in the new patch is there's a competition mode, which I think will become more and more popular. And instead of having just a pickup game, what happens is everybody joins the server, and then there's a setup time where everybody sets up their teams. And during that time, you can do the organization. And then everybody's ready, and the match starts, and it plays for 20 minutes, and you see who wins. I think that'll become more popular, because as Quake Deathmatch has definitely gone that way now. There's still occasional free-for-all, but a lot of majority of the players who play Deathmatch now play what's called one-on-one. You join a server, you pick up an opponent, you hop in, you play a 20-minute game. It's timed, and you play your game, and one guy wins. And usually there's a couple other guys spectating the server, and they say, I can win. Yeah, I'm seeing that more and more. That's the way I play Deathmatch now. I play one-on-one, if I'm not playing CTF. But I think that hopefully that will become more common, because then people will set up their teams and try and balance them before time, and then the match will start. Everybody gets to play.
With the new Quake world coming out, you said it's going to be a lot like Quake. What's the draw for LPBs
To be able to play other players. Right now, the problem is that you have 2 camps now, the people who play NetQuake and the people who play Quake World. And those camps I like to get them together because it was more players time. That's what I know.
Yeah, but the Quake are based, but Quake 2 has got that player protection built in, right?
Yes, and I'm actually going to be working on Quake 2 to make this movement more like the original Quake.
Yeah, because people still complain about LPBs and Quake 2.
Yeah, it still makes a difference. Quake 2 actually is not too bad. One is like the hypermaster like motor meters, and that's actually addressed in the new version. But an HPB with a railgun, an LPB with a railgun, equal scale, ping is irrelevant. Because the prediction, HPB can hit a guy with a railgun as easily as a LPB.
The zoom is lag though in Quake 2 with your HPV. Is that going to...
Yeah, because it's controlled by the server. I'm not sure if I can do anything about that.
That's why LPVs actually hit more with railguns, is because of the lag on the zoom.
I never zoom when I run it.
That's what most of the players that I've found that do. They use the zoom script.
Its problem is SOV is never controlled by the server now, which is an odd choice. Maybe I can couple that.
You could have the server set a maximum and a minimum, so that people, if the server wants people to use 5 minutes.
I'll just have as my server says controlled FOV or not. If it's not controlled, they use
Yeah. That would be.
It's already been maxed. There's no minimum. The maximum is 180 anyways. It's hard to play with 180 though, because you're like speed water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
You mentioned that when your plan updates, maybe like 2 weeks ago, you said that you're adding aerial movement or aerial
Yes.
flow back into Quake 2.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that means circle jumping and stuff like that.
Yes, it does.
Anything else you want to comment on?
Well, a lot of people said, well, that's bad. You know, if I get hit by a rocket, I should be able to control myself, right? And that's realistic, and that may be true. But the ability to like halt yourself in the air or sort of jump around a corner, curve around and stuff like that,
I think it's fun.
it's more exciting and it offers more control to the player, which means the player has more control, therefore has more skill. The player that knows if he gets blasted by a rocket because he's flying back, he knows to push forward so he'll land on the platform and not in the lava, is a better player. You know? And that's what it's all about. It's about rewarding playability to the users. I like that, and that's my role. One of the tenets of game design.
I was just going to say, you said you're going to include the competition mod in Quake 2 CTF. Are you going to do that in DM also?
No, there's already one out there, and I've been thinking about it. The CTF's a little easier, one thing, because there's only 2 teams. I've been thinking about it. CTF's more my baby. I have full control over whatever I want with it, whereas DM is part of Quake 2, and to change that, I have to go through all the level designers and the lead project manager for the Quake 2, which is going to be loud, Dimlets, and Disruptor and all that. You know, any changes of the DM stuff has to go through that, whereas CTF is exclusively mine. I can change it freely.
Well, can't you add it on as an extra?
Pardon?
Well, you can add it on as an extra.
I could, but there's already actually about 2 or 3 competition mods out there, and I don't want to set for that.
Good, but Q2 ring has obvious bugs that I guess that we found in this place.
We're you know, I think the problem is all the good programmers got hired. Well, like half the guys that did CTF 3 levels now have jobs in the industry. The Bug does, Mini Guy does, a couple other guys do. You know, because everybody who showed any talent in writing code or doing levels for the Quake engine or the similar games got picked up by id, Storm, Ritual, Rogue, Valve. You know, they all get snapped up at the company. You know, including myself.
What have you done to prevent all the cheating that's going on in Quake World?
I've done a couple things. One, maps are now checksummed. I'm actually probably going to even make it tougher. Right now, I don't think it's tough enough. Right now, it's just a checksum to checksum. I want to. You can theoretically write a proxy that says it gives the right checksums every time. I'm going to make it so that it's encrypted, so that you can more challenging. What it is if you can't hack your maps, if they're not the same as the server's maps, it won't let you on. The player model and the ice model, you can have a hacked one, but the server will tell everybody you do. You join the server and it goes, Bob joined the server. Warning, Bob has a hacked player model. Exactly what it says. Now there's a problem there. Somebody might have installed a patch that changed their folders or something like that. But then it's his responsibility to make sure he has the proper ones installed.
Does it do that just for the model that he's using, or all of the models that?
Just the player model and the eyes model when you get the invisibility ring. Because those are the 2 major ones. I don't mind if you hack the rocket model. I don't care.
Admittedly, yeah.
Yeah. or remove torches. Some people replace the torches with a much simpler model to increase the frame rate. I don't mind that.
On checking for hacked maps, is that going to check for like water hacked maps
Yes.
also?
They're
So
done.
water hacked maps are not going to be
No.
considered?
The server and any viz data change will also not work. I'm still debating that one. I'm talking with some people, and one of the things is transparent water. The thing is, the maps will not. If the server maps aren't viz, you can't use water viz maps.
Well,
so GL users couldn't even see through the water either.
But the structures are, I mean, they're...
Yeah, they can see the structure.
That's
My
not-
software, DM3, I know where everybody post is anyway. I don't need to see through it. But it's an issue. And I'm talking with some people wondering if I should disable transparent water in GL Quake World. Not GL Quake, but GL Quake World, just in the interest of fairness. And the problem is the original Quake maps themselves were never designed for transparent water. And that really changes the gameplay. And because software Quake doesn't support transparency like software Quake 2 does, you get this whole disparity thing where the users in GL say, hi, there you are in the water. The software guys have no idea.
Why don't you just make the server setting like other things?
Because I don't want to. There's a point where if you have too many server settings, you have these servers sit this way and these servers sit this way. You create camps of users that play on those servers, and camps of users that play on that servers, and you split the community. That's a real issue. You want to have for some configurability, like weapons stay, weapons don't stay. That's not different enough that people will not play on non-weapons stay server. Well, some people will, but it's not a big enough difference. Yeah. But doing major changes like these servers don't have transparent water, these do. Then all the GL players are going to play on these servers, and the software players are going to play on these servers.
Good point.
And I don't want to cause that.
Is there any, I don't know if this would be a big project or not, but would it be possible to port the code for transparent water in the software renderer of Quake 2?
It's something I'm thinking about. It's not a trivial job. That's the problem. If it was like, I'll copy the code from Quake 2 and throw it in there, or Hexen 2 for that matter. I do it, but it's not. That's a big problem. This Quake World is really an unsupported product. I mostly work on it somewhat in my spare time. Somewhat. But, yeah, so that's not really a viable solution. Also, adding transparency to Quake seems odd, because none of the maps were ever designed for it, which really changes things. Anyone else?
I saw on a message board one time somebody was wondering why it hasn't made an update on the NetQuake because the last one was WinQuake.
The biggest problem with NetQuake is there's tons of versions out there. There's like AI exports I've never even heard of. If I change NetQuake, there's so much I'd have to recompile, re-release, and there's so much I'd have to upgrade out there. There's tons of old NetQuake stuff out there. Everybody at LAN, stuff like that. Quake was much more control because I have control over all of it. Whereas Quake is just everywhere. And if somebody releases a new version of Quake, it'll have to be compatible with the old one to fix a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of it's security errors and other stuff like that. I'd have all the people running, my AI version of Quake for IBM AIX no longer works with the Quake servers. And I don't know how to build an AIX version, I don't even know who built it. That's the big problem. That's actually something I talked to Carmack about, because there are some security problems with the old Quake right now. So, I'm not planning to release a new version of NetQuake. As far as I'm concerned, everybody should migrate to Quake World. Quake 1.
Plays on single player mode, you can Quake mode.
Well, single player is irrelevant. You don't have a network then, and I don't have to update it. All the updates to the old Quake is just network. Right?
Interesting with that making them the same.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, Quake World now plays very almost identically to NetQuake. So I've created that. Basically, Quake World is NetQuake with new networking. Is my goal, right? And I want to play the same, but offer the advantages. Right now, it wasn't. It was sort of weird variated Quake with new networking. And I wanted to end that.
One of my disappointments in Quake 2 is actually a minor one, but if you get hit by a rocket, or actually if you hit somebody with a rocket in Quake 1 or NetQuake, you'd see the bodies like flying across the room and doing face plants and curves.
The impact damage is less than Quake 2, and I'm not sure why. Yeah. That's part of the level designers and the project leaders' decisions. It's something I've been meaning to ask about
Because
I like to see the guy move at least. Bang! Oh look, rocket. That was kind of nice. And keep running.
I've heard from a couple people that possibly one of the reasons why that was left out in Quake 2 was because it doesn't work very well with packet prediction, and it makes the model jump across the screen and stuff. And if they keep the movements minimized or something like that, then it stays smoother. I was wondering if that might be.
It seems to be a major problem with Quake World.
Well, no, I haven't noticed it either, but I'm on 88 so.
I don't know, I'll have to look into it. I will.
Are the texts by default in Quake 2, are you able to throw them? Did you build that into?
Yes, drop tech is the command.
Now, you were adamant in Quake 1.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference. In Quake 2, when you drop a tech, you can't pick it up anymore. It's not yours anymore. Somebody else can pick it up. You can't. That I didn't think about that in the original one. Because in the original one, I had this vision of you having like strength and regen, standing up in a corner and go, drop the strength, pick up the regen. Regen up, drop the regen, pick up the strength, kill some guys. Oh, I got hurt, pick up the regen. Yeah, they'll sit there for 2 minutes, right? You just keep going. So
now you just have to have 2 people to do it.
Pardon?
Now you just have to have 2 people to do it.
That's fine, it's 2 people. Yeah.
It's teamwork.
Yeah, it's teamwork.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
Yeah, controlling the runes/text are a big part of CTF because they're very powerful power-ups. But yeah, Quake 2, the thing is, if you drop it, it's not yours anymore. You can't make it.
In your team play mod or your competition mod,
Yeah.
when all the players respawn at the start,
Yeah.
do all of the techs respawn at the
Yes.
same time?
Yes. Actually, I think there's a bug right now where they spawn once at the beginning when you start setting up the match. So you can fly around in observer mode, see where all the techs are, then join the team and start the match. You know where they all are, so you go running towards them. But actually, I'm not sure if it's Quake 2, I haven't even looked. In Quake 1, the techs were always in the same spots at the start of each level, every time. Like at McKinley Base, the strength was always sitting in front of the quad door, every time. So if you knew the levels really well, you know exactly where they were at the beginning.
Doesn't happen in Quake 2.
So now they're different every time?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, everything gets respawned. And the level, when the game resets, everything gets respawned.
I mean, like, you know how everybody dies and
Yeah.
respawns?
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than start of the
Yeah.
match.
And the interesting thing is some maps don't have enough starts, so everybody respawns, so people go telefrag.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no point, it's written so that nobody gets any points during that. Just until everybody gets going, then it's fine.
You'll be in one map. You see it.
Yeah.
I was wondering why the physics from in the first Quake were so much different than Quake.
Because Carmack started from scratch. What happens is, in Quake went through several evolutionary steps. There's 1.0, there's 0.9, which was really horrible. 0.9, you can do stuff like, you stand on a plat and get stuck, and there's all kinds of weird bugs.
Like in the first versions of Quake 2.
Yeah. And, he went through everything, and what happens is he threw out all the movement code and rewrote from scratch. The problem with that is it was different than the movement code he'd already tuned in Quake. And the movement code in Quake is actually pretty complex. That's why it took me 6 months to reproduce it. That's your question? Drew?
Does the new Quake world that you're going to be releasing play pretty close to net Quake
Yes.
with push latency 0? Because that's what a lot of people want to do. They want to eliminate.
Pretty close. The only difference is, yeah, it's pretty damn close. I've had a few NetQuake players play it. Like I'm going to get Reptile tested, a few other the major NetQuake players to give me comparisons. And they say it's pretty close. Some of it's a little different. Like you get hit by rockets, there's a bit of a frame wiggle. The NetQuake, when you get hit by a rocket, it's very smooth because you're always seeing what the server is sending. You know, and the problem is in Quake World, play control is actually tighter. You could move faster or change your direction faster in Quake World. It screwed me up. When I played NetQuake, I kept orbiting the teleporters. So I'm trying to get in the teleporter in Quake World. I just turn. NetQuake, when you turn, you can slide a bit and then move. So that thing you get used to. But majority of the players I've had testing now say it's pretty damn close. The differences are very trivial.
Oh, push latency. Some people, I've read minus 150 is max you should set.
New one, just use the default.
Pardon me?
They just set it higher than whenever you're paying it, just be always predict. So if you use minus 999, it'll just always use your it'll predict the most as if you were on a 0 ping.
So if you do run it at minus 999?
Yeah. It won't like over predict.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got a question about the maps. We've all seen McKinley base the 3 versions of it.
Well, station is a little different, but
yeah, but those are sort of the 3 generations in Zoid's map making.
Yeah.
What if you? I mean, the latest one is a pretty simple as like with torches sticking out of the wall, sort of complexity. It's a fairly simple map. There's not a lot to get. There's not a lot. I mean, there's a few stairs, a few platforms.
Yeah.
The first one, there were lots of pillars. Did you just not like the look of that, or did you find it played bad? What tips do you have?
It didn't play that well.
Okay.
The railings and stuff looked okay, but they can get in the way of playing. They also slow the map down.
So the polygon count was a little high in the
Yes.
What tips do you have for map makers who want to do like a team map?
The biggest thing for new map makers is it's not the brushes that give you your level detail, it's the textures. And I'm not sure everybody knows what a brush is, but when you construct a level, the wall's a brush, the floor is a brush, the column right there is a brush. Everything built in the world is built on the blocks and brushes. And a lot of new map designers tend to build their detail work, like this light stack or something, out of brushes, hundreds of them. Don't do that. Make it out of 3 brushes instead of 50. But use really good textures that give it the detail. And that's what gives it the detail. Of course, you get people that turn off their textures. That's what gives it the detail. If you turn off the textures, actually, most maps are actually very flat and somewhat plain. But that's because it's the textures that give you the detail, not the brushes. The brushes are there to display the textures.
Have you tried to make a CTF map or any sort of team map that wasn't identical? That each base.
Yeah, there's 2 non-symmetrical maps in Quake 2 CTF. There's a smelter, which is similar but not symmetrical, and that one's actually turned out pretty even because it's weapon balancing. And there's the capture outlands, which is the big mountains and stuff. Red base is disadvantaged. Blue is much better because it only has 1 entrance and easily defended. And I did that on purpose. I wanted an off-balance map, just to give it something flavor, because it makes the blue team work hard, and
the red team gets slaughtered.
It just offers a different flavor. The red team has to come up with more interesting tactics. If you're a red team in that level, you gotta really play good. That's what I wanted to feel.
Is it possible?
And get a little lucky going down.
But the thing is, to make a map fair, it has to be symmetrical. There's no way to make an asymmetrical map fair because you have different players that have different skills. So if you balance it for these set of players, when you get these set of players who are different, one side's going to be more powerful than the other because of that.
Do you think it shouldn't be done, or do you just think that shouldn't be all the server runs as asymmetrical maps? Is it worth it?
I think it should be a balance of both. Is what it should be.
It's because I'm in the middle of making a map right now for team play, and everything out there is symmetrical. I was wondering how much I should experiment, but I'll take the hint.
Well, a lot of really successful maps were like CTF 2 and 4, the Ruins of Demonic, which was the one with the big skulls.
Oh yeah.
Now, a lot of people hate that map because it's huge and confusing. But the thing is, it was a symmetrical map, but except for the bases were unique.
Yeah.
Right, which
just
meant,
a little bit different.
Yeah, which meant fighting in the bases were more challenging. McKinley Station was the same way. The map was symmetrical, but the bases were different.
Okay.
Right. Some people said Blue Base was a little harder to defend in red than in McKinley Station, but overall it balanced out. And that's what gives the map its flavor. You can build an asymmetrical map like that, but it is mostly symmetrical, just differences in the sections. Other ones have similar bases and entranceways and a different middle.
Yeah.
As long as you have, like McKinley Station, the bases were laid out differently, but had all those in where that's how they balanced.
Okay.
3.15. You said it's going to be up in a week, 5 days.
A week or 2, and then it's done.
It's done. Will it address the speed of the weapon change?
CTF will have it switching off to deathmatch, but no. Several mods will probably inherit it, though. Most people these days don't run vanilla or unmodified servers. since our default set is pretty basic. Modified ones in a lot of options. It's still an issue, one that there's both sides of the camp on it. I'd like to provide the option, but in the end, it'll split the community again. So it's still an issue I'm thinking about, really.
Why don't you have a room for it? The Insta-Switch room.
Hey, Haze doubles the speed.
Okay. It's so slow.
It is slower than I like. I mean, Doom was faster for switching weapons. And single player, it's fine. The deathmatch, it does take a bit away, because if you're running out of ammo, you're toast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't run out of ammo.
That's what I find when I play Quake World, and if I try Quake 2, which is a better.
I remember a couple months ago, I played a lot of Quake, dude, like a good solid 2 weeks, and didn't play any Quake. Went back to Quake, it seems so fast.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You know, everything seems fast, the weapons are just crazy, and it's just bang, bang, bang. Quake is a different game. It is a slower paced game. I even reflect that in CTF with this little bit slower grapple, and you know, a slower pace to the game.
You think Quake 3 will be a combination?
We don't know yet. The design still be worked on. You know, it'll be something new and exciting.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. Drew?
The future of gaming looks to be 100-person games.
I think that's true in some respects, but I think it's still, the small game still has a good place. That's one thing that's great about Quake. There's 250,000 servers out there. Well, not that many, but there's tons of servers out there. They give you variants. Go join a server with 4 players, go join that server with 50. You know, and I think there's a lot of places for games with 100 players, and there's a lot of places with games with 4. The biggest thing about Quake is none of it's persistent. It's in, go frag, you're done. And that's kind of a... Pardon? There's no character development.
Is a little bit different.
The character development is you with your skill. That's what it works.
When you were putting together the custom pack for CTF, you were talking about Captain Fumopolis, and you changed the lift code. Did you change the lift code just for that map, or did you see...
It's interesting, because let me give you a little bit of background on this. Problem is in Quake, if you stand on the lift, it never goes down. Now in Capitolopolis, without using the grapple, the only way to the upper base was on 2 different lifts. So if you're the red team, was it red team on top or blue?
Red bottom, red top.
Red. What was it?
Red top.
Red top. If red caught 2 guys in the elevators, the only way the blue team can come up is grappling, and they can only grapple up one way. So you just park 2 red guys in the elevators, and park 3 red guys looking down, shooting blue guys as they try to come up.
Well, why change the code just for that map? Did you like it that much? Or was
it had problems in other maps too. It had problems in other maps. Specifically, I think Ground Mines was like that, and you went up 7, 2 towers. You went up the lift in the corner and stood on it, the guy would have to either go all the way around and grapple up or go over to the other lift, but in case, you might have another guy in that lift. You know, that was actually pretty effective strategy in that map. When I had a flag, I'd stand up the lift in the corner going, so nobody, because then I know they wouldn't come up that way. Quake 2 has something where the map designer can set that or not. It's called plat load trigger. Lifts are called plats in the code. And what that means is a plat will only go up if it's triggered on the floor. You step on it, it goes up, wait, it goes back down, even if you're still on it. And you can also have plats that don't do that, ones that stay up if you stand on them. So now it's controlled by the map designer in Quake 2. And for example, Capture Showdown, they're set low trigger. You stand on the lifts into the bases, they go up, go back down, go back up, go back down. You can't hold them up. So it was already solved for Quake 2.
Yeah, I was just wondering, from your experience, how do you feel the players feel about being a small unit in a big army?
It all comes down to effective communication. That's what it comes down to. Quake isn't really the type of city game where you'd be a unit in an army. It could be. It could, as it stands now, it is.
I mean, sort of in terms of 100-player games, are players now contented to play a very small role that's repetitious? How do you avoid that?
Depends on the player, really. Depends on the player, you know. As the community grows, the Quake 2 community is growing every day by the evidence of how many servers are up and people are playing. It depends on the players. A lot of people are one-on-one deathmatch players. They like the psyche and the excitement of outthinking that one opponent. Because a lot of players like to play as a unit, in a team. you contribute to the goal of the team, which is where CTF sits. And then the whole army idea, you can split up into like sub-commanders. You know, you're in charge of these 5 group of guys and stuff like that. And some people will enjoy that. You know, it's all about the players. I don't think I've seen yet because of technological concerns. Right? Even today, it's hard to fit 100 players in a server. You have to have it. We have an alpha server, and it died at around 70 players. You know, it just couldn't handle anymore. And that's a real issue. That was with the net traffic. You only fit 64 players on the T1. Right? So you have a T3, you've got a lot more players, but then you gotta have the server with the horsepower to do that. And it's something that we'll be looking for in the future. And you know, in 5 years, you'll see 1,000-player games, which will just be insane. but it'll be a different game. It won't be deathmatch. 1,000-player deathmatch is meaningless. F1 and the scoreboard keeps scrolling by. But it'll be a different game. It'll be something like an army. It'll be something about teams with controlling areas and stuff like that.
You'd be gang wars in a city.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about groups of players who. That gang wars. Perfect.
West side. You know, you can take Grand Theft Auto, Quake Rally, sort of mix them, and the Crips and the Bloods. Carjacking in Quake.
It's something you'll see in the future for sure. That's actually an avenue of online play that has not been fully explored yet.
Speaking of the games,
Yeah, that has not been explored yet. You'll see games in the future that do that. I think in the next few years we'll see something new, online-only games. Ultima Online's one of the first examples of that. Subspace was a research project turned into a game.
See right the realm. Game before you Ultima Online.
Yeah, Ultima Online's the first big one that's really got attention.
Bad attention.
Yeah.
Well, good.
It's well intentioned though. The task they set to build that is just enormous. They're not building a world, they're building a life. You know, where you have a character that grows. I mean, you gotta feed yourself for
And then someone comes in and slaughters them.
Yeah.
In 7 weeks works.
The player killer problems and all that stuff. Because the problem is, in a world like that, you're not real. You know, nobody's gonna throw you in jail if you kill that other guy.
Or if they do, you just start a new character.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have, to solve that, you know, if you want to create a realistic online role play, this is more role playing than online games in general.
One character.
You know, but if you want to create a character, you got to make it so that if you have something with negative consequences, you spend the next 2 years in jail. You just get for real. You don't get a new character.
You log on and spend your 5 hours in jail.
But you can actually, that could be very interesting because then you have interaction with all the other inmates. Let's not go there. You know, these sort of trades.
That's bison.
Hey, you could go up in your levels a lot faster.
True.
I was just wondering about the 100-player games, what type of team mods do you think that'll catch on?
Turf War is going to be a big one. Control areas. You see that in Team Deathmatch these days. Like DM3 is all about controlling the rocket launcher and stuff like that. But in those type of games, you're going to have huge maps with different areas, like a city. Yeah. You know, you have the slum area here and the rich area there. People try to control the different areas, stuff like that. So whatever team controls the most area. Like it's down to.
Like a Team Fortress type thing where they try and put keys in one area. And
The mechanics of it will be dependent on the game itself. The idea is controlling areas and you know, recruiting will maybe be a big thing too. You join the game, what gang you join, you know, stuff like that.
I think it offers a lot because it sort of takes it one step beyond the most important thing is to kill that guy. Well, no, the most important thing is to help the team. Right. It doesn't matter if you killed 76 people, if you lose your area.
And the people who play CTF who understand that are the ones that win CTF games.
Yeah.
I've seen like TM clans go out and slaughter people, these guys one-on-one, lose because the other team knows how to play as a team. Yeah.
It's kind of off subject, but you mentioned Team Fortress. Team Fortress is marginally popular in Quake 1. Have you heard anything about anybody porting that to Quake 2?
The Team Fortress guys themselves are working on Team Fortress 2. There's rumors about it being a commercial product and all kinds of stuff. I don't know any of them. I know they handed Team Fortress off to some other guy to Team Fortress for Quake to maintain, and they're off doing something else. Yeah. But their scope is actually pretty large. Team Fortress originally was, you know, you have 8 classes, and it was a CTF type game with classes, what it started out with. And they got more interesting stuff like what was it, the Canal Zone or something?
Yeah, it's really neat map.
Which is all about controlling areas, some of the new stuff we're talking about right now. And Team Fortress 2 is actually interesting. They're making it so the map designers can create almost entirely different games just based on the map.
You can stick in something that looks just about like Quake C from Quake 1 in the map.
Yeah.
And then it's
they're doing some amazing. Team Fortress 2 will be a pretty cool product. I'm actually somewhat looking forward to.
Last
as long as they
time
fix
though
their
is,
bugs. Team Fortress 1 for Quake had a lot of bugs, and I kept getting
I was a
emails.
Team Fortress player, so I'm really hoping that Team Fortress for Quake 2 is going to be.
I don't know anything about it. I'm looking forward to it as much as anybody else.
last I heard, they may not even use the Quake 2 engine. They may not be able to because they want to market.
Yeah, but there's so many rumors. I mean, I've heard.
No, they decided to deal with it.
What's that?
They decided to commercial exploit deal for it.
Yeah, which I don't think they did. But, like, I don't know. It was in one of their plans.
Well, the whole end user license agreement with the source code was to stop people from commercially exploiting end users. You know, because when Joe Publisher releases this level pack add-on that's unauthorized and personally a piece of crap.
Like Juggernaut?
I didn't say any names. And
I don't.
You know, it hurts the image of Quake, right? Because consumers will buy this game and go, oh, look at Quake add-on. Oh, okay, take it home and it's crap. You know, well, I'm not going to buy it anymore. Which hurts. You know, because then you get really the authorized ones like This Illusion of Eternity, Scourge of Armagon, and the new Zaptrix Entertainment Pack, whose name escapes me. You know, which are official, which are fantastic, fun, really well done add-on products. Yeah, that hurts them. So, you know, it wants to encourage the amateur developer, like me, who wrote CTF, but not have, you know, some publisher grab a bunch of stuff, use their tools that they release out their goodwill to commercially exploit the product.
Someone, actually, I think the Carmack said something about this in his plan. He was thinking about releasing the next version of the source that you use to customize the games under the GPL license or a modified version thereof.
Does everybody here know what the GNU license is? Gotta give it a quick right there. History of GNU, a big easy word. The man named Richard Stallman about 20 years ago decided that software should be free. Not free in the sense that you can go download it, it's yours. Free in the sense that of free speech. If you use a program, you have the right to the source code to that program, so that you can modify it for your needs, and you can contribute your modifications back to the source for other people. So software becomes free. What you pay for is the support and the individuals who put it together, right? So, which is an interesting concept, and it really works out in a lot of instances, and it doesn't work out for something else. For a product like Microsoft Word, the free idea would be kind of neat, but it isn't possible because of the way the product is marketed. You know, like Netscape has moved to this. Netscape released their source code a couple weeks ago. Free. You can go off and hack on it, make your own version. You know, of course, it takes a lot of skill to that. You have to be a programmer. But the point is it's a contributed project. The software is owned by Netscape, but the source code is free, just like free speech, essentially. That's what the concept is. What the GNU public license is, it's a license that says, here's the source code. You have the right to modify the source code and give it to somebody else, but you must include the source code and your modifications. So I can take Netscape, hack it, give it to somebody else, but I have to give the changes I made to them as well. So they can take it and change it or rip my changes out.
And you have to say that it's based on that.
Yes.
You can't call it your own.
You can't call it my own. It's free. I cannot take ownership of it.
Copy that.
And I cannot take ownership of my modifications either. By agreeing to the license, I'm agreeing that my modifications become part of the free part of the product.
What do you think this has to offer for Quake 2? It seems to me like a good thing.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems I have with mods right now is people that make mods don't release their source code. It released the source code so that amateur programmers can write on it, make mods, have fun changing the game, and learn from it. That's the reason why every version of my CTF, you can download the source code and modify it. Because I learned from it gave me the source, and I learned from it and modified it. I want to give the source to people so that other people can learn and modify it. You know, that's why you have this whole CTF variants, Thunderwalker CTF and blah blah CTF. And there's War of CTF, Battle of the Sexes CTF, all kinds of stuff. You know, I think kind of floods the market at times. But it's cool because people are spending the time to take the source and modify it. And that's what the sense of free software. If we GPL the source code release for like the game DLL we do, so that people make modifications, it would be compulsory for them to release the source of the modifications. And I think that's a good thing for the community. Yeah, and because right now it's not a requirement.
Something I'm wondering about, because of all the changes that have been made to Quake 2 since it was released, the DLLs that are made for one version break on the next version. How long does this trend continue, would you say?
Until it works.
The next release 3.15 is still compatible with DL1. All DLLs will work for it. Okay. The changes are integral to the engine itself.
It seems to me that would be...
It still breaks save games, and that was a design error in the original.
Right.
But mods will run on 3.14 mods will run on that. The problem was there was a lot of stuff in Quake 2 that needed to be fixed, not because of bugs, but because of security problems. You know, there was some people that blow up the server doing this and like that.
That was
and
bad.
features. We wanted to add some stuff to mod authors so they could control more things. And because of that, we had to change the interface, which was what made them incompatible. I hope that's ended.
Pardon me?
I hope it is ended. Oh, we don't have any more on that.
As a member of the software industry, do you think that, what effect do you think Warriors has on the industry?
It has a negative effect.
I mean, yeah, negative given, I would assume.
I mean,
What's the magnitude of that?
I'd have to do like go visit a friend's place. He's playing, you know, Quake 2, and I'm like, you own it? No.
Don't put it in.
It's like, I worked on that. You stole it from me. Yeah. And that's the people's argument. Well, where's let me check the product out before I buy it? That's what demos are for. There's a Quake 2 demo out there with 3 levels. Go download it and play it. You can play deathmatch on it. It only has 3 levels. You know, and the majority of games these days have demos, just for that fact. Whereas, it's the same as copying an album. And the problem is, I don't really care if you take your Quake 2 CD and install it on your friend Bob's computer, so you can play and he can play. And you know, Quake 2's not bad because you have to have the CD play it single player, so you get a load of your CD and then it's only one play. You know, but for playing deathmatch, you know, that's why Quake 2 doesn't require the CD for deathmatch. You know, we don't care if you take the CD and install it on 30 computers and all your friends play it online. You know, that's part of the fun. You know, but it's the major wares where people are taking it off the CD, zipping it up, and uploading it to the FTP site, and giving it to 40,000 people. That's where it's bad. You know, that's I totally disagree with that, and it's stealing, plain and simple. Yeah. Did that answer that?
In Quake World, the major cheat also was the fact proxy. You've done anything to
proxy? I've done some checksumming of the packets so that the proxies can look at the data, but they can't change it. They change it, the server will go, you changed it, throw it away. And so some of the fact proxy stuff, like its ability to record demos on the fly and stuff like that, will still work fine. But it'll need to be changed for the version because I changed some of the way it signs on.
What about reading, like, the time, how much time until the next quad spawns, or...
Actually, Quake 2 TF, the new version does that. You have a clock there.
No way.
You know, you're like, oh, well, look, you pick up the quad. It's 9:54. Okay, at 8:54, the quad will be back. Take it up, go off and play. Oh, look, it's almost 8 there. It's 9 minutes, just about to go bed. Yeah, timing the quad's fine, and decent players. I've seen people stand behind other people playing matches with a stopwatch. Think, okay, the quad's coming, the quad's coming.
Without the proxy, if you don't know when the quad was gotten, you can still time the next quad just because of fact proxy. It's telling you when it is, even though you don't have that time by somebody sitting next to you who can't see the quad hit.
I don't really like that. I don't really like that.
And hitting one key to tell everybody where you are and how much else you have.
I already have that in Quake 2 CTF. I don't mind that.
But
that's better communication.
Right, but when not everybody else, they ban fact proxies from leagues.
That's because fact proxy had features that let you cheat, like ping.
Raising your ping.
You know, make it look like your ping's higher than normal. Actually, it would lag you, but still, if you're an LPB, you still have an advantage of the 150 ping because you have much more bandwidth than a modem user does.
Can you still hide the fact that you have a fact proxy by making the hacks to whatever? They had the fact proxy checks, right? And it'll say this person's using fact proxy 1.01, and you can hack that out. Is it still hackable?
Everything is hackable.
Okay, so
It's just how hard is it?
How complex is it? Are you just using some checksums, or are you
There, it's
encrypting
checks
on
up
the
with
fly?
a 1,000 byte key. So it can be hacked. The problem is the proxy sits in between the client and server. It's real hard to defend against it. I can get nuts and use like RSA public key encryption and stuff like that. Then I get into the fun US American part of you can't export encryption.
Well, also the little thing that you need a P2300.
Yeah.
Like
Public key encrypting all your packets. Yeah, that would really chip this. Darn lag.
17 seconds lag.
The biggest thing is yeah. That's what I've done essentially. Yeah, without invoking the expert laws from the US. But I've got my own encryption system. It doesn't do that. Anyone else?
Why is running against walls faster?
Going along the crease. Crease between the walls, you get a speed advantage.
Why?
It's the way because when you move along a wall, it parallels into all the planes. And math errors are introduced to cause you to run a little faster.
Well, how come zigzagging works?
I don't know. I have no idea. That was just strange. It might be math error related.
Are you going to try to stick in something to just check the distance? It's been a second. The maximum a player can move is 800 units. They're 900 away.
Some of that's kind of fun. If you can learn to run zigzag, go ahead.
So small cheats you don't care about. If someone gets an extra 2% faster.
They're not really, they're kind of like bugs, but they're not
They
really
work
major.
for everybody.
I mean, look at Doom. If you run diagonal, you run a hell of a lot faster than you run straight. At least we fixed that. Doom is funny. You watch people run, they go because it was faster, because you could diagonally run faster.
That was amusing, yes. Have you thought of introducing any fun little bugs like that?
Not on purpose.
It's not a bug.
Are there any lines in Quake 2 that say, if player name equals Zoid?
No. It's not to prove I cheated, that would prove I suck.
No back doors for yourself then.
No. Okay.
Has the current hack aiming bot that seems to be circulating around for Quake 2 right now been addressed?
We broke it at 3.5. 3.8 they fix it, but I'm actually planning shots coming out of the guy's butt, you know.
Actually, it doesn't do that. Have you ever played against it?
That's good food.
I found it on the net. I found the guy who publishes it and everything, right? And set it up and tried it out. And what it does is it manipulates the packets that go to the server so that if you're playing against it, you walk up behind somebody and that guy says, "There's somebody behind me." Flip, bang, flip. So it's actually facing you every time it fires.
I know, but it's so fast, it looks like it comes out of his ass.
Yeah.
Rockets out of the back of the head is a good one, too.
But Zedbot is a nice one. There's a hack
It's
version of
sensitive
it.
fact to Quake, you're allowed to turn it instantly. And if you have a computer to it, then it can aim for you instantly.
Yeah.
And with the railgun in Quake 2, it's rather annoying.
Disgusting.
You like stick your head around the corner and the railgun hits you right in the face. Instantly. Crazy stuff.
Have you thought of adding anything, either to CTF or just as a mod for deathmatch, so you can target certain parts of the body? Shots to the head do more damage.
That's a gameplay. That's a game design maker. You'd have to make that decision at the design of the game. I don't think it really add in later. I think Sin is actually doing something really.
Yeah, it's already been done. The visual weapons patch has a setting for on.
The headshots get more or something.
Headshots do 200% of regular damage. Legs and arms do like half.
Well, so if you lose an arm, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you can still carry the gun, what do you care?
Yeah.
As long as you can still
Green
carry
run
all
around
eight
with a dead arm.
When you shoot someone in the head, they would go down a lot faster if you just shot them.
Anybody else?
A couple mods.
Have you been contacted by any other software development houses other than Kid Software to
Yes.
get mods for?
Yes, I have. Right now, I'm focused on my work for id. That may change in the future, I don't know. But right now, I'm focused on working on my stuff for id software.
Are you allowed to work for other companies while working for it?
Theoretically, because I am a contractor, it's just the stuff I have to do for id is pretty much full time. So.
As far as matchmaking goes, I know that we were talking about the BSP trees with why is it not looking a step further?
Is there a step further? There might be. I'm not the real expert on the 3D stuff of that level. That's John Carmack. And BSP trees are actually one of the solutions they use for Quake. They used quite a few different models. They tried to do portal stuff and all kinds of stuff. Quake went through like 3 or 5 major engine changes before it was done. If you read Michael Abrash's articles while it was in development, Quake, it talks about all the stuff they tried before they settled on doing BSP trees and stuff like that. It's actually quite interesting. But whatever, we'll probably try a few different models, and the one that works best will be the one that chooses, or the one that's easiest to use.
So, you said that for Quake 3, they're just changing the graphics engine.
Yes.
And for Trinity, they're doing a total overhaul.
Trinity will be the rest of it. Doing networking, maybe persistent state worlds, whatever.
And you're going to carry the Quake 3
Graphics
graphics engine over.
Yeah, but upgraded just like Quake 2 engines were upgraded.
What Quake first?
True.
Other than Quake 3, what game are you looking forward to?
Oh, there's tons. I'm really looking forward to Dune 2000 because I was a huge Dune 2 fan back when it came out. Because I'm really a big fan of Frank Herbert's Dune universe with the spice and all that stuff. And Dune to me was a great game because of the big backlog to that. But Dune 2000 will have, the new advanced high-res interface, the ability to select more than one unit. Dune 2, you couldn't do that. You had to go click, move, click, move, click. You only had 20 units, so we're really mad. But so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a lot of the games. Daikatana looks kind of interesting. Sim looks kind of cool. But Half-Life looks like a really interesting single-player game and a very different feel than any of the other ones out there. There's tons of games I'm looking forward to. I'm a gamer. That's how I got all started in this.
If you had lots of time now, what mod do you think you'd be working on if you were just sitting in the basement, sort of tinkering, like you did CDF?
I'd like to do some sort of online-only team play type game, almost like a turf game. Something like a really large scope, not as detailed as Ultima Online. Something you hop into, play for 2 hours, but League. Ultima Online, you have to hop in and play for 12 hours before you leave to get it in there. But something like that. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm really happy where I am right now, so it's hard to look that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on American McGee giving out action games for the Steam games?
No. American's an interesting guy. I've talked to him with him for a while and everything. It must be something he's really interested in. If it is, then I wish him the best of luck with it.
Do you have any other info that you want to share that he hasn't yet about if anything's going to be different about his consumer games rather than strict?
I have no idea. You have to ask American. I actually have not talked to him since he left. I talked to him a bit after when he left, and that was about it. Hearing about things. I'm not sure what he's up to. I'll ask him. Yeah.
I was wondering about the grappling Quake 2 CTF. You were talking earlier about how you're trying to add in things about play control, like being able to move in the air where a player has more control.
Yeah.
And that, generally, when you have more control, you can have more skill.
Yeah.
Because you can do different things. It seems to me like the grapple in Quake 1, you can do a lot more stuff with that, and a lot more skilled things, but with the grapple in Q2, you've basically reduced it to a tool. You can get high, or get across jumps, and
you can still flip yourself and stuff like that.
not exactly, not like the same.
The grapple in Quake 1 I think was a bit overdone because it was too good to get out. You could grab that flag and be going so fast, it was insane. Which also gave it a huge advantage to LPDs because they could move a lot faster than HPDs because it was so fast. It was part of the game though, and that's the way it evolved. The Quake 2 itself is a slower game and I wanted that slower feel. And the biggest complaint people have about grapple isn't the ball speed, it's this weapon switching.
Yeah.
Because right now you run along and I gotta pull this grapple out of my backpack, okay, got it! This guy's behind you pounding you with a super shotgun.
Did you ever consider doing, like I've seen some CTF variants have a
the offhand one?
That you just, you hit a button and
I always felt it should be a weapon, in my opinion. It should be a selectable item. The offhand one is just too powerful because you fire the grapple and you don't even miss a step shooting that weapon, and that's too powerful in my opinion. It should be a trade-off, you know. If you want a vertical mobility game, make everybody fly, don't get them grappling. Yeah, exactly. It turns more into descent instead of guys running around.
There's a lot of skill in using the grapple. Like when you're being trailed by someone, you grapple down the hallway and you turn around, you pull out your rocket launcher, and you shoot the guy while you're zipping along.
That's weapon switching. It has nothing to do with the grapple speed.
Yeah. But it's the same kind of idea as having the offhand grapple. Or is the offhand grapple?
Just well, if you got an offhand grapple.
The offhand grapple doesn't affect your firing at all. You just look at the wall, hit the button for the offhand, like hold that button down, and you're still firing. So you go, stop, shoot it, and keep shooting the guy, and nothing ever happened. So the grapple hits the wall, and you're gone. That's too powerful, in my opinion. They'll unbalance the game. Yeah. I still want to, you got to switch. I mean, you can't shoot anymore. You fire it. You can't shoot until it hits the wall. Once it hits the wall, starts pulling, then you switch back to your weapon. But there's got to be a disadvantage to mobility granted to you by the grapple. You know, there's no disadvantage. It comes, everybody grapples. What's the point of running? And Quake is almost that bad in some instances. You know, some people don't run; they just always grapple.
Well, it's faster. Like LMCTF.
Yeah, like LMCTF has not done grapple. And if you join an LMCTF game, people don't run; they just grapple because there's no point.
Mind you, most of the maps are so bloody big that it would take you forever to run from one end to the other.
Yeah.
Speaking of adding more that you can do, which means that you need more skill. Have you ever played with a grapple with more realistic physics? There was one for Quake 1 single player, and you could do some neat things. You could shoot a raptor.
I saw a demo of it. It was really cool. You could swoop around and stuff.
Yeah.
With lag, it's unusable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's also, it takes almost too much skill. You can spend hours a day just practicing how to swing with the grapple.
But it's neat because you can't just shoot somewhere and go there in a straight line. That's like a trap.
I want to keep the grapple simple. It is a point to forget weapon. Yeah. And that's one of the processes. Keep things simple.
Okay.
You know, some people say, you're playing to the lowest common denominator. That's not it. I want a game that people can explain the rules and how it works to somebody in 10 minutes.
Well, and I didn't know the lag thing either.
Pardon?
I didn't know the lag thing.
Yeah,
that would have been really cool.
Although I could build an entire prediction of the client for it. That would be horrible.
Yeah,
it's going over.
You need to redo the entire thing. Yeah. Okay.
I had a little question. There's something that I've always wanted in Quake, and I thought they're going to put it in a long time ago when it was the beta versions. But I was playing Free Space, and they have the ability to, you can hold shift and a button, and or control and a button. So basically you have one button that can do 3 functions, given you either shift, the button itself, control. And I've always liked that because I'm using so many damn keys, I'm using the whole keyboard.
Modifiers for your keys.
You can
yeah, that's what I was wanting.
There's no shift modifiers.
You just, if you hit
you'd have to, you hit one key to the other, hit one key to the other. But no one wants to train for that. You're used to shifting stuff.
Well, no,
that's an interesting point. It'd be nice if you can buy stuff to little a and big A.
Yeah.
They do 2 different things. Something we want a little kid to do. I don't think they'll change it in Quake 2. It might be something good for Trinity. Or for Quake 3. Could have been one.
Go back to LMCTF. Like one of the main things that I like about LMCTF is that they have wave macros instead of text. So the wave files, the sounds, speech for communicating.
Like wave
macros.
No. You could wave in the game. I remember that. Oh yeah.
No, you guy plans on doing that for either.
It's something I thought about. I thought it didn't really play that well. But
I don't know. I find it's one of the best features.
Yeah, as long as it's you got anti-spam on it, so people go, hey.
Well, that's the thing. Putting it, just like text, putting anti-spam on it. I think they got one actually. I think you can only hit it once every 5 seconds or something like that. So
it's interesting.
I don't know.
I've never actually played it that much, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
The problem is the sounds are become unique and it'd be interesting though. You become accustomed to hearing them.
So yeah, because that's one of the things. You tend to take your eyes off of the screen for a second to read what somebody else is saying. Well, meantime, you're dead.
Yeah.
True.
Whereas you can listen to somebody can say, and a lot of people don't know. Oh, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but if it's not in the game, a lot of people don't know how that they can set it up themselves, like the text macros.
Yeah.
Whereas the WAV files are actually built into LMCTF, so a lot more people use them to communicate to each other.
That's something I'll have to look at. You know, I just haven't really weighed the advantages.
Yeah. Speaking of spam, sometimes on servers it's like enter and seek all over again. How about an ignore command that takes a username?
Interesting idea.
Because some people just whine.
I have spam protection in now. The new release has it.
Okay.
You can't.
Well, it's just about as bad if someone's just consistently rude. I mean, sure they only say it once every 10 seconds, but just ignore, blink, just like IRC/ignore so and so.
I'll think about it. It's more fun. It's actually more difficult to think.
Well, yeah, but
Well, some people use it as a tactic. They get you pissed off, they get you flustered.
It works.
And then they start wasting on you
Well,
because you can't concentrate on your game.
Then some kids just sit there and go, don't kill me. That's Quake.
Actually, I have great fun with that because if they're typing, I just go behind them and go, typing!
Oh yeah, it goes with campers. People complain about campers. I don't complain about campers because you know where they are. Go kill them. Like,
Is there a way to disable text?
/MSG4. Everything's found.
Oh, okay.
You won't get any messages. You consider somewhat anti-social, but MSG2, I think, or 2 or 3 turns off everything but chat, so you don't see any death messages. There's different levels.
that wouldn't be bad.
So that's MSG.
You wouldn't know when the lag would come.
MSG, message.
MSG. Aren't a lot of people allergic to that?
It's short for message. It's nothing to do with food additives.
Sorry.
Anybody else? Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Hope you enjoyed my talk.
Yeah. And you said you had nothing to say.
No, you just wanted to.
What was that?
I'm sorry, I really thank you a lot for everything you're helping me do for this. Slower start than we thought, but that's fine. We're going to have a draw right now. We're going to have a draw for everybody that was pre-registered and prepaid, okay? And, you know, all those people that we pull out of the hat, blah, 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 you know, you come up and choose a game and stuff like that. Okay, here we go.
Was that the one person who was pre-registered?
Oh, who is it? Oh, it's Hamfist. Hamfist, come on up. No, you get it all.
Really?
Yes.
No way!
It's all of yours.
Score?
I don't know, man. There's a copy of Turok up there.
Woohoo, thanks, Pat.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
Awesome. Well, I guess I shouldn't feel so bad about getting my ass kicked all the time.
Okay, I guess we can all head back to playing right now. You know, we've got everybody's going to get something out of this, I guarantee you. We've got a lot of prizes left.
Yes.
That's too bad.
Nope. I don't have any of these.
Anybody have any questions at all or comments or anything like that?
So Canopus cards are on special, you were saying, the Tier 3D2 cards for $129 this weekend?
Yeah, right. That's
The box is $129.
They're all in the boxes right there, so get up front and grab a box.
They're so light. Technology is amazing.
Back to Vancouver.
What's that?
Are you coming back to Vancouver single
Why, you
next
got
year
that?
or whenever there's
I don't know. We're going to see. I'll be absolutely truthful. Like the turnout that we got here in Toronto, we had like 300 people on Thursday night. Everybody took off work. And the turnout we've had out here has been, you know, rather disappointing to be truthful. You know, we've got half the people here from like Seattle. That must say something right there. You know,
Yeah, Seattle people are nuts.
I know. Everybody was saying that.
Do you
Also.
see too much local?
And I'll be absolutely truthful, all the people that I've been talking to, all the developers out there and all the publishers, people that are helping make this a reality, a lot of us want to go down to the States, and I think we're going to have to actually kibosh Canada for right now. It's that old adage, you know, you have to prove yourself in the States before you come back, before you can prove yourself in Canada. So I think for the rest of this year, we're just going to be down in the States, and after this whole concept catches on, and our shows get larger and larger and get up to the 5,000 people mark or so, then we'll probably have to start coming back up to Canada. But I think we're going to limit the amount of cities that we do in Canada. I think we'll really be doing only probably 4 or 5 major cities.
Advertising's got a lot to do with it.
There are more than 4 or 5 major cities in Canada.
stumble across the site.
Respawn is wrong.
Although the weird thing about it is that I can look at all the age group here,
Oh, I heard
and
about it from
the age group in Toronto was much lower though.
Hmm.
I would say that the average age was about, I don't know, 19 or so. 20 at the most. Pardon me?
Yeah, was that time of year?
Well, the time of the year does have a lot to do with it, at least in regards to, you know, our show that we had in Toronto, we had Unreal there, we had the Forsaken guys, and Mad Cats came up, et cetera, et cetera. None of those companies could make it right now, and the reason why is because we just chose a bad day to plan something. You know, CDC starts on Monday, you know, computer game development. Want to go and stick a record?
They were going to charge us extra for moving out of the ballroom. So I have my own staff. So the total of the is 7,540.
Yeah, over the net. Yeah. ADSL cable, we should pay pretty well.
Default. Yeah. For it, you'll end up on my DBS. Which is the lab. It's Telenet.
Is it the same board that you were running, just a Unix port of it, sort of?
No, it's actually on a different box. It's on a Windows box.
Oh yeah.
And Kelly, my buddy, I think he met him. He set it up for me so it redirects that port over to another workstation. So it just comes in. It's a kind of a flaky thing. So if you ever go to Telenet on port 23, always be patient. Don't like half a port. Port 24.
Easily accessible from the other edge. I like this one.
Yeah, you can set it.
Stack that monitor on there.
Big wiener!
Oh my god.
Oh, the big wiener.
We're not carrying that?
It's my monitor.
No, I'll give it to him. Oh, we'll help you carry it.
All this stuff?
Yeah.
If it's too much below. What are friends for?
Congratulations.
It always opens my trunk.
Tell us your secret. It's all in the wrist option? It's all in the wrist.
I tried. Kick some ass. That's all I got.
Oh, for the second prize. I already got it up there.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I don't have to see in here, guys.
What's the EA score?
We can see on the
Stupid game.
Here,
That's
over
true.
the
Is that a myth shirt?
I could set it up differently with CDS.
Where's his other pile?
Get another idea. What's that?
Where's his other
Plus, the thing is that it starts all would be all there.
No, it's right there.
Everybody's bringing it.
So let's put it in his laptop.
And that file.
And which file?
Real slime.
Two copies.
Watch your face.
Sweet, adorable face, so.
Put the hat on.
Can't put the hat on, dude.
Second place was
It's a fashion statement.
Perfect. He got 2 3D cards, the other guy got 2 3D 2.
Let's go, one step on. Hold on. Okay, smiles.
You got a Pier 2 and a Blaster 2.
Yeah, one of these times you're gonna have to smile.
Put it on top, on top.
3 copies of Hexen.
I love that game.
Game little one.
2 copies of
Alright, it's good, it's good.
That poor man.
What's that?
You get to review every day.
Who else is claim stuff?
3 games went to do.
Who else is claim stuff?
I didn't got my copy, sorry.
Me and
DN or CTF.
Did you get 2 copies of those?
Huh? I just like to thank everybody today for this one.
Just 3
Hexen tapes? There's a second pack sitting there.
Oh, the second one?
Oh.
Divvy it up later, get the photos in.
Hey, I think, can we get one of the big boxes to store?
they're sitting right here. This is Scott's. So you get it, they're all set. Or no,
No,
yes.
I already got my stuff.
Yeah.
Never wear out.
That's right.
Okay, so these are the file there.
These things won't do this all night. You have to see brand new.
Yeah, I got my 3 hats.
Okay,
so who's next?
You could physically change it.
Think
But I don't know why I think that.
Do the exact same time.
Because see, I can just buy
You actually showed up.
Okay.
That would just be too much of a
The guy in the white slide to Alright, now the guy in the blue slide that way. The guy in the white, go away from each other.
106.
Start there, Connor. Well, there's like.
Come on, Lon, you can do it.
Yeah, it's gotta go.
Yeah, whoever got into the fun. Whoever got into the fun. It was the way the Starcraft was played. The 2 top people from each of the first 2 games went to the 4th, and they all got prizes.
CTF. Okay, Mark. Take it away.
Okay, we're just gonna have a draw for everybody that threw back.
Dinosaur patch.
It's all 3D AGP card. I'll let Zoid choose.
Okay. Get both of you up on the stage, Mark.
So like our cards embossed.
Come on, guys, we're ready.
Anonymous.
Oh my God!
Oh!
All right.
Thanks.
Maybe I'll win something.
It was fixed.
Okay, so give him his stuff. So pick up his stuff. Hold it.
the whole thing?
Hold up the HEP card.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Just set it on the other side.
Where's that?
2D. There, it's easier to keep in the way.
Okay, that's good.
Alright, man.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So you can't use it, that's okay.
That's it.
But hey, I got it.
I got any final remarks?
Well, on behalf of me, thanks for coming to all the PCP.
Is there anybody who didn't get anything at all? Aside from the free people.
Well, you should get like a donation happening from the guys that got like 3 of everything.
I got Michael Andretti's.
We got a couple of people that didn't get anything. So if you guys got double games, if you guys want to pass them around or something like that, we got 1, 2, 3 people. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so if you got doubles, hand them out.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Take out the doubles. There can be no
Who wants
losers.
an Andretti?
What's next 2?
I've got it.
Lots of
X and 2.
Who wants an X and 2?
Or that.
X and 2.
Choosers can be beggars though.
Rude. Nobody wants it.
What?
So wasn't that an extra help key when I just want to give it to somebody that has a bunch of it?
I've got one. It's a good game.
Okay, we got one more guy down there who didn't get anything.
No, that's for her.
Yeah, next guy, yeah.
Oh,
he's got one here. Alright. Maybe not, but that's like
You bastard.
with masquerade. Okay, so now everybody got something, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Well, try it out. Let's see.
I don't think I can try that.
Alright, guys.
You gotta go in.
Alright.
Time for a game of GTA.
No more.
Beans coming up here.
Oh, really, girl? Oh, lost in my house. It's like all the way.
Enjoy your chair, Beans.
Don't, man! You want a chair! Hey, I'll trade you. He already got a t-shirt in the mouse. But I think we're gonna get hey, you didn't even have a mouse? Okay.
These are all free.
We still have 2 more chairs left.
Get a little hype. Tell them they're not going to get in if they don't hype it up.
But you know, I'm thinking I might want to take those 2 chairs home myself unless you guys maybe show a little excitement. Hey, come on, have you guys seen these chairs? These are pretty nice. I think you can yell a little louder than that. Alright, that's good enough for 1 chair. And that chair goes to Captain Commando. Where is Captain Commando? Here he comes for his chair. And his lovely form. Alright, we've only got 1 prize left. Who here hasn't won a prize yet?
actual videographer, are you?
Dynamic, it's good.
And then he finds out that Young Street, of course, is the longest road in all the world.
No, I haven't been
Where's Mark? Where's Mark Chandler?
He just took off to talk to the guys.
Multiplayer, the whole thing's all that works together.
You know what are some of the things that are going
Not very impressive.
You were testing it out.
Right, front page sentence. Webmasters, no. Black background. Yep. Cybec, SYBEK. Yep. Tower. Yep. Ryan, MCK. Nightmare. Dickhead.
Mark Chandler, are you here?
Track Zero.
What's that? Mark Chandler, are you here? Where the hell is he? There, no. Get in here!
Track Zero.
Mark, can you hear me? We need a Canopus pass-through cable.
Why does it say pass-through? The new Canopus? You're excellent, Jared. They're not. No, they're not available.
They're going!
I'll stay here. I'll take the bus over, man. I've been waiting for all the want you to come over, please.
He's out here with rifles going, hey, it's an alley baby cow.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
Look at them.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Alex, can you hear me now? Now. You can come back. Hurry up.